Good evening and welcome to the Coach Joel Taylor Show. I'm Patrick Edson, along with the head coach of the West Georgia Wolves, Joel Taylor. Coach, good to see you tonight.
Glad to be here. Another week to get better.
Thanks to Jefferson's for allowing us to take up their lovely space back here on the porch. And, Coach, let's hop right into it. Coming off really a tough loss Saturday here at home, 30-13 was the final score. And, Coach, now you have to get your guys to flush that loss and try to get ready maybe against arguably the best opponent you're going to see this season in the Tarleton State Texans.
Yeah, you would like to think that with their record and where they're ranked, definitely want to flush the loss, but we want to learn from the loss as well.
Absolutely.
I think we are definitely disappointed at the result, but at the end of the day, I think the reason we're dang disappointed is because we felt like we could have won that football game, and we feel like we could have played better. But at the end of the day, like I said, man, I'm a firm believer, man. The good Lord gives you what you need exactly when you need it. Unfortunately, like I said, we lost, man. But I think we're going to learn from this and get better from it.
Coach, I thought Colton Fitzgerald first start played a heck of a football game. He went 19 of, I believe it was 37 for 279 and a touchdown, including a really exciting touchdown catch and passing catch to DeAndre Buchanan.
Yeah, I think he was one of the highlights, of the day. Honestly, him and Dre, connecting on two balls. I think Dre had 160 yards of receiving, but it was really good to see Colton go in there. The biggest thing I didn't want him to do was, feel like he had to do more. And he did a good job of doing exactly what we needed. Didn't turn the ball over, didn't put the ball in jeopardy, and then made the throws he needed to make. And I think that might have been the highest passing yards we had on the year. On the year. So it was good to see him come in here and do that. He threw a touchdown, and I know he's kicking himself. He had one read that he missed when we kicked that second field goal. We had a dang on double post and a wheel coming behind it, and he missed the post. But other than that, man, I thought he played a really good game, and it was really good to see. And I think it gave our guys confidence as well, that coach can come in and help us win a football game.
Probably the biggest disappointment from the offensive side of the football on Saturday was just the inability to get the run game going. What did Abilene Christian do to really put you guys in a situation where you found yourself throwing the ball more than you customarily do?
Yeah, I don't know if they did anything. They were a big up front, but at the end of the day, we faced guys big up front. We faced East Kentucky, and we was able to run the football. I think we kind of fell in love with the pass a little bit. You had the big yardage things and things of that nature, man. And Colton, he does a really good job in the quick game as well. So instead of running it, you may get 5 yards with a quick hitch or something like that. But we definitely got to run the ball. We got to do a really good job there. I think the one thing Abilene Christian did way better than us, they controlled the clock. They did a really good job of controlling the clock. They basically doubled the time that we had the ball, and part of that is because of the run game. So we got to be better in that aspect, and we've been really good all year in that aspect, and I think that's helped us win ball games. So we got to get back to running the ball. But at the end of the day, we also want to play to our strength as well.
Coach, you probably played, also your defense probably played maybe the best quarterback they've seen this year in Stone Earl. And he was a gamer on Saturday. He actually set a career best for rushing in his career against your team. I know you didn't want to hear that from me, and I'm sorry, but that's part of my job here, I guess, even though they don't pay me to do this, Coach. You can fire me at any point. But like you said, though, mid-third quarter into the fourth quarter, they had a huge drive. 10 minutes of time of possession probably is the drive that really sealed the game for them. What was it about his game? What was it about your defense that he was just able to feel comfortable at times?
He's a good quarterback.
Yeah,
he is. I can't take anything from him. But we did face a really good quarterback at Utah, Southern Utah.
Yes, you did. You did.
And we get ready to face another good quarterback.
Very good one. Yeah.
Right. So, but he's a really good quarterback. The one thing he did was he was able to find his reads and his progression. We didn't do a great job of, rushing our rush lanes, staying in our rush lanes. He was able to escape a couple times where he was able to get 82 yards. Not one of those 82 yards was a design run. It was us not, being in the right rush lane. And I think that was kind of our day, honestly, offense and defense, man. We didn't play the 111. We didn't, you had 10 guys doing the right thing, and then that one guy didn't do it,
Right.
and the play broke down. And they did a really good job of executing and finding that weakness. Like you said, man, that last drive, the drive that after the interception, our defense has been, lights out on third downs, during our 5-game winning streak. But the last 2 games, we haven't been great on third down. So
yeah, they were 10 of 15 on third.
15.
I wasn't going to say that either, but since you brought it up.
Nah, man. It is what it is. It's there, but we got to be better there. I told our defense, even though, right, and that was a tough situation, right? So, Trayshawn Moore does a tremendous job of getting the ball out, getting our offensive position that they ain't going to score. We were down by 11. If we score there, now we're down by 4. The momentum starts changing. We got our fans behind our back. We're at home.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, the very next play, we throw an interception.
Right.
And then they're right back up. So, that's tough, right?
Yeah.
From a mental standpoint. But the one thing is, right, we always talk about, if you are a great defense, you get to play more defense, right? Let's go out there
Right.
and show it, And even though we threw that interception, it was on the 6-yard line, right? We call that the black zone, right? Anything inside the 10-yard line, we call that the black zone. Because usually if you hold a team in the black zone, right, you give your offense an opportunity to score the next time. You know what I mean? Because they got them now, get a quick operation with their punt. You'll probably get the ball back on, say, the 40, somewhere around there, the plus 40. That drive, they did a phenomenal job of moving the ball down the field, but converting on the third downs,
Yes.
right? If you watch it, you go back and watch the TV copy, you'll see the 10 guys doing the right thing, and that one guy didn't do his job. And like I said, they capitalized on it. And like I said, kudos to them. And that drive was 94
yards, yes, sir.
And about 11 minutes, right? And
Right.
that was a killer. And they went up 30-13 then, and that hurt right there.
What are one or two positives that you and your staff take away and talk to your kids about from Saturday?
I think the first one is the play of Colton.
Right.
If Colton got to go this week, we got all the confidence in the world. Now we hope we have Davin back. I mean, we got 2 quarterbacks that can go win the ball game for us. And then the one thing I've kind of told our team, right? Colton can't do it by himself, right? Everybody got to help him. And I thought Dre, right, did a phenomenal job of helping him. Made a couple big plays for us. So that was the positive there. And then, like I said, man, every loss that you take, you got to learn from. You got to get better from. And I think, what we have learned from that is, guys, when I went back and watched the film, you think you're going to see a whole bunch of just, ugly stuff, man. He's bad, but it wasn't that. It was
Right.
10 guys doing the right thing, that one guy. So if we can get all 11 doing the right thing, consistently, I think we'll be fine. We'll put ourselves in position to win ball games.
Well, speaking of the right thing, Coach, coming up next on the Joel Taylor Show, we will have one of the stars of the West Georgia Wolves defense. It'll be Jonell Figueroa next on the Joel Taylor Show. Welcome back to the Joel Taylor Show here at Jefferson's of Carrollton. I'm Patrick Edson. And let me say first to our crowd, thanks for being here tonight. Be sure to, let's put your hands together for the waiters and waitresses tonight as they are out here serving you guys. We really appreciate them, and thanks to Jefferson's once again. And I am here with junior safety Jonell Figueroa. Jonell, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. How are you?
Awesome. Jonell, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you went to high school and, just the basic stuff about Jonell Figueroa.
So I went to a high school in Lawrence, Massachusetts, a small city, where mainly, as crazy as it sounds, my whole football team was full of Hispanics. I'm actually Hispanic myself.
Okay.
So a little trait with that, we had spoke Spanish on the field, so that was a big little.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was pretty.
Do you do any of that here? Just to mess around with your teammates?
Actually, I do it sometimes, but some of my teammates don't even know what I'm saying.
Oh, no. Oh, no. And I know you don't do that to Coach Taylor. No. No way. No. He probably knows Spanish and you don't even know, right? Hey, Jonelle, one thing I'd like to know is what's your major and what is it that you plan to do once you graduate from the University of West Georgia?
So right now, my major, prior to my transfer, I had to switch my major to interdisciplinary science. Mm-hmm. But originally, my major is sports management. And after school, I really don't see anything else besides football. So.
Oh, okay. Really, all right.
I'm trying to pursue that. I have an older brother who played in the league. He played basketball in the NBA for a little bit.
Okay.
My mother, she played at the U. She played volleyball at the U. So. Okay. I pursue sports like throughout my whole life.
That's your passion. That's your focus. Yes, all right. Hey, where did your passion for football come from? I remember playing Mighty Mike football, and then eventually I was like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. What is it about you and football that just makes it your love?
So, that's crazy. I'm actually a free safety. I'm on the defensive side, but growing up, I was a big Marshawn Lynch fan. Oh. And I was always, ever since I got to watching him, I got used to playing football. And actually, what's crazy, on my 10th birthday, I got Skittles, which is, if y'all don't know, Marshawn Lynch, before every pregame, he would always eat Skittles.
Right.
So, that was.
Are you still doing that nowadays?
I still got some Sour Patches.
Oh, okay, Sour Patches. Yeah. Okay, I got you. All right. Hey, after last season ended, right? You're making a decision because you weren't here a season ago. Right. And so what was it about West Georgia that you said, this is where I want to be next season playing football for Coach Taylor? I would say the love that I got on my visit. The first day I got here, obviously coming from up north, I'm a little nervous on, who's gonna like me down here, if the people, like just coming from north. But when I came down here on my visit, everybody brought me in like a brother. So I just fell in love with it the first day. All right, so good first impression, right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, good job, Carrollton. Great first impression on this young man, right? Hey, Jonelle, sometimes, in life, period, whether you're on the football field or off of it, adversity is going to come, right? But specifically for you and your teammates, right now, a little adversity, right? Yeah. You've lost 2 straight games. How do you and your teammates kind of rally with one another and fight through that adversity together?
We throughout every week we Coach Blevins, our defensive coordinator, he always preaches about being together no matter what happens, and just focus on our main goal, which is to have a winning season. So that's pretty much how we go by every week.
All right, final question. What do you want your legacy to be with this football team here at the University of West Georgia?
I would like to be known as that player that anybody could reach out to, like that player that anybody could lean on to with trust, if anybody has a problem, they can always reach out to me. So that's pretty much what my legacy, besides football, obviously I would love to be one of the best free safeties at the University of West Georgia, but besides football, outside of football, I would like to everybody be welcomed by me, like have that presence with me. Yes, sir.
Jonelle, that is awesome. I want to say thanks for being here with us on the Joel Taylor Show. And up next, it'll be the fans' opportunity to grill Coach Taylor here next on the Joel Taylor Show. Welcome back to the Joel Taylor Show here on the back porch of Jefferson's. Patrick Edson, head coach Joel Taylor, and now it is time for audience participation as we will get questions from the audience this evening. Hopefully we'll get some questions. And Jared Bogus, our SID here at the university, has the microphone. And if you'd like to ask Coach Taylor a question, just raise your hand. Anyone? All right, here we go. Coach Cooney, here we go.
Good evening, Coach, and congratulations on a wonderful season. You're doing an absolutely fantastic job, but you're getting into that middle part of the season where it's tough and guys are banged up and, nagging injuries, etc. What do you do with your team going forward to make sure that you have the finish that you want to have?
Yeah, great question, man. And I actually love this part of our season, honestly, because it's building us. We're going to face 3 really good opponents with Tarleton, Abilene, and Austin Peay. To try to get through that, I say try to get through it. We want to excel through it, right? And this is the first time we've had a stretch like that. And on top of that, we're playing 9 straight games. So that's tough. So we haven't had a bye week. But I think, you just continue with your process. You kind of pull back some things like this week. We'll only go 1 day of shells, which was today, and then we'll go helmets tomorrow. We'll walk through on Thursday and go helmets again on Friday. So we kind of backing it up just a little bit off of them, try to get them as healthy as possible. As far as the injury bug, I got to give that to our sports medicine staff. Hopefully they can get those guys, back. But I think that's part of recruiting as well. We got to do a great job of recruiting and having really good backups, when guys go down, because it's a next man up mentality. But right now I think we're, in the best of shape as we can be in. We have some guys that are down, but some people have it worse. But at the end of the day, we don't make that excuse. We just try to do a good job of preparing our guys and getting ready to go, and hopefully have enough bullets to fire on Saturday.
Test. That works.
there you go.
Kind of piggybacking off that, when you're winning, everybody's happy, everything's going great. When you have a couple of losses, obviously things can get tougher. Sometimes they can get tough in the locker room. Yeah. How are our players responding after the past 2 weeks?
They're fine. They're good. At the end of the day, man, like, we're 5-2. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
We're in the top third, of the country. I actually told the guys a Winston Churchill quote at the end of practice today, which is, success is not final, and failure is not fatal. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, when we were 5-0, like, we had more football to play. That wasn't final. Of course, we'd love to be sitting here 7-0. By the end of the day, I think, like I said, the good Lord puts things in front of us to get better from. Hopefully, we're going to learn these lessons and get better and have an opportunity to go down and beat Tarleton, and that's the goal. But win, lose, or draw, it does not matter. We are coming back on Monday and trying to get better with our process. And hopefully that ends with wins. But sometimes they'll end with a loss. And at the end of the day, you got to learn from that loss.
It's a great question. All right, another one in the back of the room.
Hey, Coach, I know we've had a lot of success this year.
Yep.
Just a personal question. How does year one compare to year two from a Joel Taylor personal perspective?
Yeah. I think for me, the first year, like I said, I was drinking water out of a fire hydrant, trying to put the staff together, trying to put a team together, trying to put a culture together, trying to put the standard in place. So it was a lot of just moving pieces. It really was. And now, we're kind of settled in. One of the things that I got really lucky is the staff that we were able to acquire. I think we got tremendous daggone coaches on offense, defense, and special teams. We got about 19 to 20 coaches, and those guys are really good dudes. They're really good ball coaches. They really try to back me up or preach what I am trying to, the message that I'm trying to give. So I give those guys a lot of credit. So there's a lot of things that have changed, for me. I'm getting more comfortable, in my space. Where last year I was trying to be a position coach, a coordinator, a head coach, a shrink, travel agent, like all those things, and once you go through it one time, for me, I always look at things on how can you get better, no matter if you win, no matter if you do it pretty good, how can we be better? I call that the PAR technique, our post-action report, on how do we get better. But I am ecstatic at the growth from year one to year two. I really love the direction of our program and where it's heading. I really love the people that are around me that's helping make this thing go. As far as the community, the support staff, the administration. West Georgia has a lot of good and we have a lot of untapped potential, and we're heading in the right direction. I'm super excited about that.
All right. We have time for one or two more questions. Got one up here, up front.
I think my grandson wants one first.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Here we go.
Here's the toughest ones.
Yes.
So, if you had one, what rank do you think you're gonna be this year after going through every game?
I don't know. I hope
Top 25 rank sounds pretty good,
Yeah,
right, Coach?
I hope in the top 25.
Yeah.
You know, if we're in the top 25, I think that's a great honor where people then going to see us as a formidable team. You know, by the end of the day, I just want to get better each week. You know, whatever that looks like, if we are in the top 25 or not, that really does not matter to me. But it looks good. I ain't gonna lie to you. You put it on the resume. But we got all the way up to 16, which is good. Hopefully we can get past that.
Great question.
Can I give one more?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Hey, I also want to give a heads up and an attaboy to all your coaches, because I see them on the practice field.
Yep.
And that's where you see and know a coach knows what he's doing and handling his players. So heads up on a great staff that
Yep.
you've got.
Thank
of course, the leader is the kingpin, and you're doing a great job.
Appreciate
But
it.
we have goals in life, and I know you have set some goals for the team.
Yep.
So, as we get to the closing time of the season, what goals do you have in front of you? How do
Yes.
you talk to your team?
Yes, and we actually just talked about it, and most of our goals are still ahead of us. When guys, you lose 2 in a row, it's like, man, like, oh my God. But at the end of the day, like, what were our goals, And I think I said it earlier, we were ranked, as high as 16th, but that wasn't one of our goals, But to start it off, off gate, our first goal was to be the most violent team on the football field, right? That's our number one goal, So I think we've been doing a good job there. Then our next goal was to beat Sanford, right? We wanted to win our first game to get off to a good start. Then our next goal was to be undefeated at home. Well, we didn't get that goal. We lost last week, so we didn't get that goal. Our next goal was to have a winning season. We got a great opportunity to get that done this week.
That's right.
If we win, we get to 6 wins. That's a winning season. And then our next goal was to double our wins from last year. We were 4 wins last year. Hopefully we can get to 8 wins this year. And then our next goal was to win the UAC. And, our guys, felt like we lost that opportunity last week, but really we have not. If we take care of what we can, they're going to take care of. You beat Tarleton, and if Tarleton loses again, Abilene has to face Tarleton. They got to face, Eastern Kentucky, the good teams in our league.
Right.
They could lose as well. So we just got to take care of us. We got to go 1-0, but that is our goals for the season, and all of our goals are ahead of us except our one goal of going undefeated at home.
All right. Any more questions? I think we're good there. So we will end the question segment here from the fans. And when we get back here on the Joel Taylor Show, we will talk about the Tarleton State Texans and wrap it up here from Jefferson's in Carrollton next on the Joel Taylor Show. All right, welcome back here to the Joel Taylor Show. Patrick Edson and Joel Taylor and Coach, final segment of the evening. And let's talk about Todd Witten's Tarleton State Texans. Right now, they are the 3rd-ranked team in the country. I believe they are 7-0, 3-0 in UAC play. What is it about this challenge for your football team on Saturday?
Yeah, Todd Whitney does a good job. He's taking that team from Division II to Division I. I think last year was their first year of actually getting into the playoffs last year, man. And they've started off really, really fast, and they've done a nice job down there, man. They've put a lot of resources, to their football program, and he's filled out a nice roster. They're probably the most talented team in the UAC.
From top to bottom.
From top to bottom, there's
Yep.
no doubt, man. Like, they're going to probably play all their backups, and their backups are just as good as their first team. So they've done a nice job. But the defensive coordinator, I know him, Tyrone Nix. They keep it real simple, and those guys play hard. Same thing offensively. They don't do too much. It's a unique offense in a sense, but they do what they do, and they do it well. So they let those guys play, and they're really talented.
Yeah, right now they're averaging just at about 47 points per game. They're lighting up the scoreboard. It looks like a casino at the moment most Saturdays, as 56-10 over Central Arkansas, 52-42. Southern Utah is the one team that has scored the most on them this season. And then they had a really impressive win early in the season, double overtime over Army, 30-27. So, like you said, a talented and deep football team.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job, man. Scoring the football, and they're doing it with their backup quarterback right now as well. I think he's super talented as well. I think he's been in there the last 2 games, and like I said, I'm not going to say you can't tell the difference, but let me tell you what, he is lighting it up. And then I think they've had running back by committee. I think their running back's kind of been hurt and banged up, but they're still able to run the football, man. They got about 3 or 4 dang on running backs that are really, really talented, man. But like I said, man, I think they do a really good job of their offense. It's not overcomplicated. They do what they do. They're super talented on the edges. I think last year the Cooper kid, number 6, he lit us up about 160 yards, but he's on the Eagles roster.
Right.
You know what I mean? So but they're talented, man. They're getting to a 11-piece set. They got 3 wide receivers, and all of them can go. You know what I mean? So you can't just single that guy out. Hey, we're gonna put that guy on him. Now you better put 3 guys. You know what I mean? So, they just put you in a lot of conflict. When they run the football, you want to put a 9th man, in the box.
Yeah.
Right. When they throw the football, you want only 8 men in the box. You want an extra guy.
Right.
And they take advantage of that. So they because they're so talented on the outside. So like I said, they do a good job. The quarterback puts the ball in the right spots. Makes really good decisions. I think their starting quarterback, I think he had like maybe 10 or 11, 12 touchdowns and 0 interceptions.
Right.
So they're making good decisions. Like I said, they do a good job. And then defensively, they got dogs all over the place, man, and they go hunt. They can run. They'll play a lot of one-high football, and when you talk about one-high football, that's 8-man spacing as far as in the run game. So they're able to then go control the box, but also have the good pass coverage behind it. So we got a challenge in front of us, and I'm excited about the challenge. Right, you get a chance to go against the top 5 team in the nation. You get a chance to go against a really explosive offense, right? So the challenge is to what? Stop them. They're really good on defense. The challenge is to what? Score. And then like I said, the challenge for all of us is to win. So at the end of the day, I'm excited about that challenge. I think our kids are geeked up to have that opportunity, to shock the world, if you want to call it that. But for us, it's the norm. It's to win the next game. But we got to all play that 1-11. We all got to play as one, right? All 11 at the same time, and we got to execute. And we got to be the best team on Saturday.
All right, final question. It sounds like you've already answered it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. In the press conference yesterday, you mentioned Davin was still, not knowing his status. Actually, I have 2 more questions. So, Davin, just any update on his condition?
Yeah, he moved around today. We got to, see. On Thursday, see how he feels, and if he's good to go, hey, we're going to roll with him, man. And if he's not, hey, Colton, let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Let's strap it up, either or, man. We got to all execute 1-11. Doesn't matter who's the quarterback. And if we do that, we'll have a shot.
Well, it sounds like that's the recipe for the win on Saturday, and that was going to be my final question. So,
well, let me go into the recipe.
Okay, that'll be great. What is the recipe?
Right, and Joe Nell could probably come up here and say it, but, I'm not going to put him on the spot, man. But we do have a plan to win, right? At the end of the day, right? It is every week, what is our plan to win, right? The first one is we got to do a great job of affecting the quarterback and protecting our quarterback, right? The next one is we got to get takeaways, and we can't turn the ball over.
Right.
Then the next one we have today we got to do a great job of playing well in situational football. Right, not just third downs. You got to play well in 2 minutes. You got to play well in the black zone. You got to play well in all of the situations, right? And then the last one is we can't have any sins. I know y'all heard me say that before, right? Yep. Self-inflicted negatives. Football is so hard, right? And winning is so hard, right? So don't help them, right? or don't beat ourselves so they're going to win. So let's do a good job of not beating ourselves and hopefully come out with a win. But that's the plan to win.
All right. Coach Taylor, thanks again for spending your time here with us this evening here on your show, the Coach Taylor Show. And fans, if you want to catch all of the action at Tarleton State on Saturday night, you can see that on ESPN Plus, or you can listen along on the UWG Game Day app or on the UWG Athletics website, or you can listen to Seth Kane and Nick White bring you all the action on Gradix Communications KISS 102.7, the official UWG football partner here in 2025. So for Coach Joel Taylor, for Joe Nail Figueroa, I'm Patrick Edson saying so long, and we'll see you next week here on the Coach Joel Taylor Show.